What's up everybody? It's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to show you how to ollie your snowboard. Let's check this out. All right, so an ollie on a snowboard, it basically came from skateboarding where you're jumping your board up into the air without a jump. And you can do the exact same thing on the snowboard, but it definitely works a little different than it does on a skateboard. Essentially what you're doing is you're leaning back and you're flexing the tail of your board, and you're really utilizing the overall flex of your board. And when you flex the tail, a split second later, you're jumping straight up into the air and you're allowing the fiberglass, the carbon, the core, everything about that board that you just flexed, you're allowing it to release and help propel you up into the air a little bit. Now, the harder you lean back, the harder you jump, the higher you can get, but there are some little tips and tricks to help get you to that point where you can start pushing yourself to jump higher and higher. So right off the bat, great thing to do is find yourself a nice flat area. And I'm not talking flat, I'm talking a nice easy slope where there's no bumps, there's no jumps, it's just flat snow. And what we're gonna wanna do is practice leaning back on the tail and loading up the tail. Now this is something that if you know how to do butters and stuff, it's very similar to that, where you're leaning back and you're trying to pull the nose of the board up into the air. Now the only difference between this and with a butter is that when you're doing butters on a snowboard, you're locking your front leg and you're bending your back leg, and that's how you're flexing the tail and you're lifting the nose into the air. But when you're doing this for an ollie, really what you're doing is you're leaning back for a split second, getting that tail loaded up, and then as you're doing that, you're lifting your front foot. Now, the higher you lift your front foot, the more you can flex the tail, but also when you pop, you can get your back foot up a little bit and you can ollie higher. But when we're first starting out, a good thing to do is just practice on leaning back and flexing the board and setting it back down. You're literally just kind of lean back, set down, lean back, set down, and you're kind of taking your weight, flexing the tail of that board, and then we're releasing it just a little bit, but we're not releasing it up, we're just releasing it back to a stable position where both our feet are on the ground. Now, when you start to get comfortable just doing that a few times, now do that, but kind of hop a little bit. Take your weight off of your back foot before you set your foot down. Big thing when you're doing an ollie is that when you pop the board up into the air, you want to set both feet down at the same time. This gives you ultimate stability. If you set the back down, then the board, when it flexes, can kind of smack you down to the ground and it throws your body forward. Likewise, if you jump too far forward and you land on the nose, it can flex and throw your body backwards. So every time you land an ollie, you don't have to, but you want to try to land flat-footed, both feet at the exact same time. And doing this little flex and a little hop, putting your feet down, this can kind of train you to get to that point. Now the key with this is that you just do it over and over again, and you start hopping a little bit more each time. Now another big thing that I always like to say too is be aware of the natural horizon. When you're riding down a hill, obviously the steeper the hill, the more your board is like this. When you ollie a board, now your board is like this. And the natural horizon is basically having your board here. So when you do lean back on the board to pop it, you're going from here to here, back to here when you land. So when you think about that natural horizon of the board and you think about springing, don't think about springing straight off of the board. Don't think about springing with the angle of the hill. Think about springing straight up and down as if you were standing on a flat surface. What this is gonna do is as you lean back and you flex the board, when you pop and you spring, you extend your body again straight up into the air on the natural horizon, and this is going to help level the board out. When you go up into the air and you shift your shoulders towards that natural horizon and you stand straight up on that natural horizon, that makes the board want to level out a little bit. Now, when you get it into the air and you're going back to the snow, all you actually have to do is match the pitch of the snow and put both feet down at the same time. Which leads me to my next thing about utilizing your feet in the air. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm in the air, I'm here, but I need to be here, so they lean forward. Now you actually don't need to lean forward. You lean forward, you're shifting the entire board. What you want to do is lift your back foot into the air. There's nothing for you to push off of. There's nothing to stop you from going out the front or out the back. So when you do get up into the air and you need to match, you can basically bend your back knee and lift that up, and that will correct the board, but it doesn't do anything to your upper body, so you're not going to shift your weight too far forward or shift your weight too far back or in an awkward position. You can kind of keep your body in line with that horizon, set it down, and then you feel better because you're in a comfortable position with your weight on both feet riding down the hill just like you did before you ollied. All right, so I know I just said a lot, and hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense once I put it all together. But when you do go to ollie the board, you're basically going to be riding down the hill. You're going to, again, lean back, flex that tail. As you spring with your head straight up into the air, not straight up off of the hill, not straight up off of your board flexed, but straight up. This is going to correct your shoulders and help level you out. And then if you're on a steeper run, you basically pick your back leg up a little bit, and that's going to take the board, level it out with the hill, and you can set it back down nice and easy. So again, lean back, spring straight up, level the board out, and set your feet down, and you just did an ollie. This is something you basically just need to practice over and over and over again. And again, start small. Just start with those tiny little motions. Do little ollies. Even do those little ollies where you're really not even leaving the snow, but you're practicing getting your body from the tail back to both feet on the downslope. But if you got any questions beyond what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We want to make sure we can get you into some rad gear, but most importantly, we want to make sure you can have fun using it too. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop. Grab yourself a new setup from peterglenn.com and get out there and learn to ollie. Because any day of ollieing is a good day of ollieing.